So today I've got my favourite janky deck in Standard so far. We're burning our opponents out with hasty oozes. This is definitely not your average slime deck and I can't wait for you to see it. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I've got such a cool deck using oozes in a totally unique way. Bear with me as not only do our oozes hit hard with haste, they do a lot of damage just by being cast. So firstly the oozes, they're created from Slime Against Humanity. It's a 3-drop sorcery that makes a 0/0 ooze with 2 + X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the amount of cards named Slimed Against Humanity in your graveyard or exile. They basically get bigger and bigger as the game goes on. Now, I've tried this card with Arcane Bombardment with a lot of success, but today it's the turn of All Will Be One. This 5-mana enchantment says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One does that much damage to your opponent or a planeswalker. Suddenly, our oozes, which enter the battlefield chock full of counters, turn into pseudo burn spells, getting more damage through as time goes on. But that's not all. Have Invigorating Hot Springs around to make all modified creatures have haste. Counters modified, so you can attack with your oozes immediately. The Hot Springs also ETB with 4 counters, and you can move counters around to make more All Will Be One synergy and damage. When this pops off, it's pretty insane. So what better way to complement our highly janky game plan? Well, enter the battles. They all enter with counters to pair with All Will Be One. Invasion of Ergamon and Invasion of Mercadia allow you to discard more cards to draw. You want to try and discard Slime Against Humanity if you can, as they're still pretty effective in your graveyard, and the Ergamon is great for early ramp to turn 4 All Will Be Ones. Attack this battle down 2 with a hasty slime to tutor any other battle to your hand, and what better target than Invasion of Regatha. It does 4 damage to your opponent and 1 to a creature they control when it ETBs, plus a further 5 damage from your combo. It is a lot for your opponents to deal with. Other cards in the deck include Ruby Daring Tracker. It taps for mana to ramp you quickly, but it does attack hard in the later game with some oozes around. Got Brotherhood's End for some board wipes, and Cathartic Pyre. It's great at discarding slimes and drawing, or doing 3 vital damage to those Godricks coming at you. Today I've got 24 lands, and that's the deck. Now, this deck is wild. I just love it. This is such a cool concept, burning your opponents with oozes, then leaning on the battles to help you get to your win. I really want to hear your thoughts on this deck. If you have copies of All Will Be One lying around, I urge you to all give this a try. And whilst you're doing that, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, then smash that like button. Your support for this channel is fantastic, and I will catch you again in the next video. Okay then, on the draw with a pretty good opening hand for us. The invasions here are going to be fantastic at making us ramp with some treasure, but also hopefully fix our hand a little bit as we get to loot away a card. These are going to be fantastic if we can find an All Will Be One as well. They do pretty much everything we need. So we find a slime. Another card which I'm fine to discard, as they are useful in our graveyard. And there is All Will Be One right on time, so we will be playing that next turn. Doesn't look like we're under too much pressure from our opponent. It is a Khan. I absolutely love this deck. It is everything I like about playing Magic. These are fun cards that you don't get to play with often, but a really sweet, unique synergy here with the All Will Be One and slimes. When I was looking at making a slime deck, I never really thought about All Will Be One until I got absolutely wrecked in a game against an opponent, and I thought, this is the deck I want to be building today. Opponent is looking probably for an answer for our All Will Be One here. And it doesn't look like they have one, so we are free here to do some shenanigans. First of all, we'll start with Invasion of Mercadia. It's going to do 4 damage to Khan. Gets to discard a draw 2, so we find a slime. That will come down as a 4/4, doing 4 damage to something. So the Cliff Charger is interesting if you can defeat the battle, because you get to find another battle from your deck. And we can... another All Will Be One there. I think that might be a bit greedy to play 2 right now, so let's Cathartic Pyre and see if we can find something else. I do want the All Will Be One though, so we'll get rid of the other Pyre and a Ruby. Couple of lands, not that great for us here. So I'm just going to attack the opponent probably. The backside of our invasion there, Mercadia, is not that great. Our opponent has the Wandering Emperor anyway. But every time we play a invasion or a slime now, we're going to be doing double damage as we get to play our second Orby one. So we're absolutely swerving like a farewell right now. That would be a nightmare. The opponent looks like they are on a Planeswalker synergy here. As we find another invasion. Okay, this is why we hold back lands. As we get to ping our opponent here for 8 damage, take him down to 10, discard our Gorge, and that's 2 slimes off the top, and that's going to be 10 damage straight to our opponent's face, and that is what I've been wanting to do when I built this deck. Alright, on the draw here, and a couple of rubies is nice. Ruby is a nice little way to get some early board presence, but also I feel it draws removal, and if it does stick around, you do get that opportunity to use it to tap for mana. So opponent looks like they are possibly on a mono red deck, so we're going to want to get this all would be one as soon as possible into the battlefield, because I think if we can do that, we can start dealing with all their creatures. We need to keep pace. I'm going to play the Ruby here. Not going to attack, it blocks a Swift Spear, but also it's going to draw removal if they have any. Like a Lightning Strike. Okay, so that's 3 damage we have saved to our face there, just by having that on the battlefield. And I will go for the other Ruby now. So Ruby has haste, so it can tap immediately. We can use the Cathartic Pyre at instant speed here, and that is an obliterating bolt to our creature. Well, I'm going to tap it here, and let's just deal with this chick. Don't have any amazing ways to deal with flyers in the deck. Invasion of Ergamon. Okay, it would be nice if we could play this with the Orby one on the battlefield, but I don't think we can delay here. Next turn we're going to want to play the enchantment, and yeah, then we can start doing some damage. So we find our Hot Springs. Hot Springs are a really cool addition to this deck. It does a little bit extra damage with the removing of a counter and popping one on one of your creatures, but also it gives all modified creatures haste, and all of your slimes are technically modified creatures as they have counters on them. So you can attack down your battle straight away, you can attack down your opponent straight away. And yeah, no slimes though for us right now. Going to play the Hot Springs anyway. 4 damage to our opponent. They go down to 16, and let's just hold the Pyre and a land to sacrifice. To discard, sorry. So opponent has Godric. We can shoot that with our Pyre, but you know what? Pretty much any permanent we find is going to deal with Godric, so let's just take the damage, and let's use the Pyre here to draw some cards. Or draw a card. Hopefully find something juicy here. We'll discard the forest, the Karplusan Forest. We find a slime. Okay, so slime here is going to enter the battlefield as a 3/3. It's going to do 3 damage to any target. We are going to hit the Godric. Get this one off the battlefield. This is our removal in our deck. But they have something. They have a Rage. I didn't expect that. I thought they might have wanted to play that last turn. But sweet little play here is we can just use the Hot Springs to take care of the Godric. We'll attack the opponent because we can't quite take out the invasion. So, happy we're still on 12 life against Mono Red. Here comes the chicks. These are not particularly great with a Invigorating Hot Spring on the battlefield. They have to attack because they're not going to block. And yeah, the Invasion of Ergamon here is going to come in handy because we can just take care of one of these chicks with our Hot Springs, attack down our invasion, make sure we've got cards in hand to discard because we are going to cast the Cliff Charger and we are going to discard a mountain and look for an Invasion of Regatha. It's going to do 8 damage straight to our opponent. It's also going to clear this Phoenix chick. And then next turn, we can attack our opponent for lethal. There's a lot of little triggers here. Make sure you are targeting the right things. And that's why the Invasion is in the deck. I think it did more than 8 damage. Took them down to 3. And yeah, they scoop it up. And that's why that Invasion's in the deck. Alright, on the draw. A couple of Invasion of Ergamons. And a Slime and a Hot Spring. So this is looking good for us. So there's a load of other battles you can pop in this deck. I think Koth is a good one as well. Helps you find some land, but also works pretty nice with Orby 1. You could definitely play more Slimes if you wanted to. I'm happy with the Slimes we have. Opponent with an Archaeologist, so it looks like they're a Reanimator deck as there is a Portal in the graveyard. So we're going to just try and race them here. I think that's the best thing we can do. Doesn't always have a quick way to kill someone. It has a lot of annoying interaction for your own creatures, but you know what? If they want to use their portal to take care of one of our Slimes, that's fine by me. We just got to get this Orby 1 onto the battlefield. Hopefully it's not countered. Okay, discard a land there. Play our Gorge. Probably should have discarded one of our other lands and played the District and surveilled in case we could have surveilled away a Slime there. Oh well. Somnophage enters the battlefield as a 2-2. And yeah, there was a Slime on top, so missed some value there, but it's not a major problem because having 2 in our hand is fine. So we've got to play Orby 1, and now we can start doing some crazy damage to our opponents. They have their Squirming Emergence, looking for Founding the Third Path to mill 4 cards. And they're going to be able to cast that Squirming Emergence again next turn. There's nothing in their graveyard, though. They've got a portal in there. So we've got a few different plays here. Let's drop one of these Slimes. It's going to do 3 damage and just do it straight to the opponent. Can't clear their creatures. Let's play Hot Springs. It's going to come in with 4+1/+1 counters in it. So I'm just going to go straight to the opponent's face. And this is going to give our Slime haste. And we get them all the way down to 8. Slime next turn is going to be another 4. Then hopefully we can attack with it to kill them. We'll see how this goes though. Here comes a Portal. But yeah, it's just going to get rid of our 4/4. So the worst thing they can do here is attack. Unless they've got a removal in their hand. Okay, we are I'm pretty sure we have lethal here. Yeah, we'll just play the Slime Against Humanity. And it's going to have haste immediately with the Hot Springs before we even pop a counter on it. 4 damage to our opponent. And yep, they scoop it up. Alright, on the play. This hand is looking good. It's going to hit some land drops here. And we should be good. Opponent with a Scoured Barrens. So maybe a life gain deck. We'll drop our Invasion here. We'll ditch a Slime. And we'll gain a treasure and a Cathartic Pyre. Opponent finds another Scoured Barrens and a Swooping Lookout. Okay. No idea what they're doing, but going to discard a Slime here, a couple of Slimes, because I'm looking for land drops as we find one, which is pretty sweet. So next turn we can all be one with our Boseiju in our hand. We have the Brotherhood's End, which is going to be great if the opponent puts down a load of pesky creatures here. So they play a Combat Research onto the Lookout to draw some cards when it hits us. So Lookout maybe suggests they are an artifact-themed deck. And the Brotherhood's End is nice because it can just take out artifacts. It doesn't even have to touch your own creatures. But up against a Esper deck, it's important we find a window to get Orby 1 down, and that was a perfect one as they were tapped out. So Invasion of Regatha is going to do a whole ton of damage to our opponent. At least 8 to their face and 1 to one of their creatures. But we can move some of the damage around accordingly, as they do play Raffine though. Card we're going to have to deal with. survives Brotherhood's End. So let's see how this turn transpires for us. Again, another life. So a lot of life gain lands for our opponent here as we find a Slime Against Humanity. That is 5 damage. And I'm just going to play this now. And we can hit Rafine. It has ward 1, but we have a land there to pay for that. This turn, or next turn, at least we might be able to attack down our invasion with our 5/5. We do have a Brotherhood's End still to get us out of trouble to deal with these swooping lookouts. But yeah, I mean, so some kind of Esper build here that I'm not really aware of exactly what they're doing. And that is a mountain. So there's a lot more ways to deal with All Will Be One than there was when the card first came out. So not always are you going to have the opportunity to get it to survive too long. But it is a fun card, and if you've got them lying around in your collection, give it a go. The slimes are a sort of easy way, I think, to have a bit of fun with the All Will Be One. But if you have any other deck ideas for these slimes, let me know. There are pretty cool cards, I think. I think we're going to block here. I don't really want them just to defeat their battle here. And we are kind of top decking, but another Orby one is a bit greedy, I think, if we play that now. Let's drop the Invasion of Regatha, because we can take care of their Danitha here. So make sure we get this right. So that's 5 damage to Danitha, 4 damage to our opponent here, and then 1 damage has to go back to Danitha there. And then we can attack down our invasion, and instead of going for the opponent's face, let's get another creature on the board for next turn. This time it is Disciples of Inferno. It's a 4/4 with prowess. That does extra damage to our opponent. They play the reality chip. And a Cruel Somnophage. Okay. So still don't really know what they're up to. There obviously is a game plan there somewhere. So I'm pretty pleased that we're able just to deal with all their creatures as and when they hit the battlefield. They have another combat research for the chip. Invasion of Ergamon. Okay, I think that's better than our second copy of All Will Be One. So let's go for the invasion here. It's going to do a ton of damage to the reality chip. So 5 damage to the chip. We can afford its war cost. And I'm actually going to discard this All Will Be One from my hand. I think this is a bit of a brave move here by me, but I'm looking for something that comes out with counters. Of course we just draw a land. But land's not too bad because we can attack down our invasion here. And we'll go with our slime only. They will lose their Somnophage if they want to block. So they let the damage through. And then we get to cast this transformed. Get rid of our land here. And we are going to look for Invasion of Regatha, because this is going to do a ton of damage to the Somnophage. It's going to kill the Somnophage. It's also going to do 4 damage to our opponent's face, and then we can attack them next turn, and they've had enough. Not surprised there. Alright, on the play. A couple of slimes in our hand, so it's nice to see. Early slimes are good for discarding. Opponent with a Swift Spear, okay. Not our best matchup, but I have beaten Mono Red a couple of times with this deck today. I'm just going to hold the Ruby back. Please let this survive. There's no chance, is there? There's no chance this Ruby's going to survive. It's not the end of the world if it goes down, but it would have been nice if we could then get this All Will Be One down a turn early. But nope, the Play with Fire deals with Ruby. And we find a tap land. So had we had Ruby there, we could have played our District and a Slime, and then next turn into All Will Be One. So it just goes to show that Ruby isn't a great card against mono red. Against other cards, other colours, it is okay. But lots of little pesky creatures from our opponents going to be difficult for us to keep up with here. We'll do our best. Need a Brotherhood's End, I think. I'm going to always block Felden. They're going to have cards. They're going to draw cards anyway. It's a Copperline Gorge, tap land. We'll go for it. We'll go for the tap land just in case. I just want to make sure that we have enough mana for the all-will-be-one. Hopefully the opponent maybe has run out of a bit of gas. It's the adversary there. So next turn we are going to slime, play our land, and pray we survive. Okay, let's hope that those last two cards in their hand are bad. Maybe lands. Of course it is Godric, and I think we're going to struggle here. If they decide to attack with everyone, we're going to have to do a bit of blocking here. So we'll take care of Godric and the Swift Spear. We go down to 7. We do lose our creatures though, and that's the Invasion of Ergamon. Alright, well, I think this gives us the best chance of winning with all-will-be-one here. The Invasion next turn can pick off some of their creatures. Swift Spear for our opponent. And it is a Lightning Strike for our 3-3, and we are going to be taken down here by a mono red deck. Not our best matchup, but we held a fierce fight for as long as possible there. Alright, on the draw here, and an opening hand with all-will-be-one is something I will generally keep if given the chance. Opponent with a forest. I'm really hoping it is a mirror match against Slimes because I love those games. It's a real back and forth as who can attack and who can't attack on the battlefield. We will discard one of our Slimes, and they're on Naya, so maybe they're not a slime deck here. Not sure what they're doing. It's been taking a while for their turn, but it's Calyx. Okay. Alright, so instead of the invasion this turn, I think we're going to have to deal with Calyx with our Pyre. I guess we can steal invasion. We'll do this first, see what we draw. Is going to eat away at our treasures. Let's get rid of land. Keep the slime for all-will-be-one. Okay. Sure. And let's take care of this Calyx. Let's do it on our turn. Make sure the opponent doesn't have any kind of protection spells, which very, very popular at the moment, the protection spells. That is the hothouse. Okay, so it's free reign here for all-will-be-one. There are a lot of answers that the opponent could have. Okay, well, there's one straight away. Borrowed Time is going to take care of that. Now, we have a Boseiju in the deck to deal with their Borrowed Time, but going to get aggro here with our Slimes. And it is a... Oh, 3 Blind Mice, okay. Well, luckily our Slimes have Trample. Audacity on a Mouse. Okay, well, we're drawing all the Slimes. It's a shame we don't have the all-will-be-one on the battlefield. But this is a fair enough way. This is a bit of a slimy beatdown here. I don't think you want to block. And yeah, we have another slime to come down. It's a 6/6. So I wonder if they're up to something because of the 3 Blind Mice. If they're just playing it as a fair card or genuinely has a combo going on. Cathartic Pyre I will use to discard some cards, or to be discarded with this Invasion of Ergamon. So I do want to flip one of these. So we'll make sure we attack them both. And we see how they block. Okay, well, alright, they're taking care of 2 of their mice. Okay, well that answers the question of what I'm going to look for in the deck. So we'll cast the Cliff Charger, and we're going to look for Invasion of Regatha. It's going to do 4 damage to our opponent's face. but it's also going to do 1 damage to our opponent's creature. In this case, it's their 1/1 mouse. This turns off their 3 blind mice enchantments, and we have a huge attack next turn. No, we don't, because we don't get another turn because the opponent scoops it up.